Okay, so beautiful to come on live again to have a conversation tonight, to have a conversation today or tonight. Whatever part of the world that you're tuning in, I say greetings to you. All right, so in this conversation tonight, I have with me Jennifer. Jennifer is going to be having conversations with me concerning CAC registrations, trademarks, and compliances. If you are running a business, being compliant is very critical. If you have not started running a business of your own, what are those things that you have to put in place? Registrations, what are trademarks that you have to put in place? If you have a particular product, is there something about the product that is a beautiful feature that is distinguishable that you have to legally protect? So these are the things that we are going to be having conversation tonight, and I make welcome Jennifer, who is going to be having the conversations tonight regarding CAC registrations, trademarks, and business compliances that you have to comply with the law so that your business can stay afloat and do not go against any legal compliances that you have to constantly keep in touch with so that your business doesn't go under. All right, Jennifer, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emeka. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. So, without wasting much time, I will want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, who you are, and then you can go straight away into the conversation for today. Thank you and welcome
Oh,
again.
all right. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you for this amazing platform. My name is Jennifer Ifoma Onyacholam, and I'm the CEO of Jenny's Corporates. I'm a lawyer by training, and I was called to the Nigerian bar in 2019. Ever since my call to bar, I've been drawn to the world of corporate practice, where we attend to businesses and corporate entities, where we have a body that is concerned with the registration of these corporate bodies. I mean, you cannot be a corporate body or run a business, and in fact, it is illegal to do so without registering with that body, and that body is the Corporate Affairs Commission. It was established by the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which is actually the main law that regulates corporate activities in Nigeria. So I've been in my years of practice, I've registered over 100 businesses, churches, and all manner of organizations that need registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission, for short, CAC. I know quite a number of people are familiar with it, CAC. So CAC actually means Corporate Affairs Commission, and it is that body in charge of registering every form of corporate entity that exists in Nigeria. That is the only body that can certify you. Okay, so that is it, and that's what we're going to be speaking about. We're going to be talking about the CAC registration, what it entails, why you need to register, how to go about the process, if you can register on your own, and even the different categories of registration. And we'll be breaking some myths as well. Then also we'll talk about how to protect your brand, because beyond even registering with the Corporate Affairs Commission, the Corporate Affairs Commission is more like certifying that this business or this organization is legal, and it's like, I liken it to a birth certificate. You can be born, but if you don't have a birth certificate, there are a lot of things you will not be able to access. Okay, so that is what the CAC does. It certifies you and to some extent protects your business and your brand name, because when someone is registered, or when a business is registered in the name, it stops other businesses from using the same name. However, beyond that, we have what we call trademark registration. In trademark registration, you don't even have to be registered with the CAC. You can, if you have an idea, a logo, a slogan, anything, that is why it is called trademark. So any mark that distinguishes you from others in the market is a trademark. Any distinguishing factor. Anytime you see this Covis, Coca-Cola, you know that it's a Coca-Cola brand. So beyond the CAC too, we also look at trademark registrations, what it entails, why you should register, because that even guarantees you more legal protection over the CAC registrations. So that is it, and we are going to be taking those are mostly, we won't really be going so in depth, but we'll be taking the basics that everyone should know for better understanding. I think most, I don't know, I really don't think that most business owners should concern themselves with the nitty gritties, and that is why you should have a lawyer in your team, definitely. But it is good to know the basics, and that is what we're going to be talking about tonight. Then after that, we're going to take questions. We'll drop, even while we are on this live, you can drop questions, and I'll see how best to attend to them. So let me start. I'm not a fed if I was just answering questions, so that I don't go talking about what people are not really interested in. However, I'll do my best. Okay, I already explained what CAC is all about, the Corporate Affairs Commission, and that it is the organization or the agency of government that registers all corporate bodies. Now, take note that I said all corporate bodies, not businesses, because that is one myth that surrounds the CAC registrations. A lot of people think that CAC is just all about businesses and companies. No, beyond companies, every corporate body, even non-profits. So we have two forms of corporate bodies. We have the profits, the ones for profit, and the non-profit organizations. So, and non-profit organizations, examples are like the churches, religious bodies, mosques, what do you call them? These friendship associations, clubs, all these traditional associations, old school associations, old girls association of 1990, all of those. Then the normal NGOs that, charity organizations, foundations, all of this fall under the purview or the territory of CAC2, and they also need to be registered with the commission. Okay, so that is why I'm careful to say corporate entities or corporate bodies, not just businesses. So even your church, your prayer ministry, your prayer house is supposed to be registered and certified by the CAC. Okay, so basically there are three categories of registration for under CAC. We have what we call first the business name, and we have companies, we have incorporated trustees. Business names are the popular ones, just small scale enterprises or business ventures, a salon, uh, a photography studio, and anything at all, just some of these small scale enterprises. Basically, these all fall under business names. Then companies are limited. Most times you see companies, when you see a name that ends with LTD or PLC or limited, these are all companies, and these are more structured than business names. While for business names, they're what's the word now? The business name is really not separate from the owners of that business. The business name is not separate from the owners of it. So when there's Johnson Ventures, Johnson Ventures is not really, we don't differentiate Johnson Ventures, the business Johnson Ventures, from Mr. Johnson, because under the law, Mr. Johnson and Johnson Business are one and the same. Okay, but that is unlike companies, because companies are distinguished from the owners and even the directors of those companies, and they are more structured in the sense that you have to have directors, you have to have shares, especially if the companies are going to be are for profit making, are going to be for profit making. You must have shares. Must be limited by shares, and that is why you have Soso or Johnson Limited, or Nigeria Limited Company. And then other companies, you have two types. You have the private companies and public companies. Now, public companies are the ones that end with PLC. That is what the PLC stands for, Public Limited Liability Company. Then private companies just end with LTD, that's limited by shares. Okay. So that is it. Although there's one more type of company, although that one is not really limited by shares, but we call it limited by guarantee. Now, most schools, for example, universities especially, have to be registered as companies limited by guarantee. Okay, it is stipulated by law that a university cannot be run as a business name, it can't be run as a company limited by shares, has to be limited by guarantee. And here, what differentiates it with a company limited by shares is that instead of having a share capital or shareholding, what we have is an amount of money where the guarantors of that company are guaranteeing to pay in the event of winding up or of that company, or paying off debts of the company. So unlike shares where the liability of member are limited to the shares, amount of shares that of hold, and for most companies at the end of the year or at the end of the period, when they make profits, uh, uh, people get or gain from the according to the percentage of their shareholding. But for guarantee, it's not really supposed to be for profit, and then you're there to pursue a cause. It's even similar to NGOs, you're there to further a cause. You're there for the promotion of an object. It may be a social object, educational object, sports, health or whatever. So that's for companies limited by guarantee. Okay. I think then the next is the incorporated trustees. Incorporated trustees are all the rest, the religious bodies, the foundations, charity organizations, associations, clubs, you see association of landlords of estates, this and all of that, they all fall under incorporated trustees, because here they are not for profit essentially, even though you may make profits of that, but originally, or they are not designed to be profitable. So incorporated trustees, usually what happens is that the CAC register the trustees. That's why it's called incorporated trustees. It's the trustees that are incorporated under CAC or with the CAC. Understand? So every IT, we call it IT for short. So every IT must have trustees. Okay, and nothing less than two, of course. But the maximum is 15 trustees. And then you must have objects, like what is the goal of this association, of this body, of this club, and it must be for the promotion of something, of a cause. Maybe a social cause, a religious cause, a sporting cause, a scientific cause, research purposes, educational, whatever. But there must be a goal. There must be objects for incorporated trustees, and also the registration process for it is different. Or forms of organizations are very different. So that is it for the categories of registration we have with the CAC. Now, when you get registered with the CAC, of course, you get your certificate, the status report. For business name, you get certificate and status report, and it ends there. And of course, on your certificate, you get what we call the business registration number. It's usually at the top of the certificate. I wish I came here with one. It's usually at the top of the certificate. You see BN and then with the number. Then for companies, whatever kind of company, you get your certificate, then your status report. The status report actually is what shows the true owners of the business or company of that organization. That is the document that shows the true owners. That is where you have the details of the directors, details of shareholders and their shareholding. Okay, Miss Jennifer is a director and also a shareholder, and she has 500,000 out of 1 million shares. It's all stated there. It shows all of these details. That is We used to have several forms for them then. CAC 7, CAC 2, CAC, but all of that, the new innovation, the new CAC that was enacted in 2020. Sorry, the new KAMA, that's the Company and Allied Matters Act enacted in 2020. It did away with most of those forms, and in place of those, it just brings out the status report. So if you've been doing business or you've registered a company long before, then you may not have a status report per se. You may have all those forms where you have to fill that were stamped physically by officers of the commission. And you usually see CAC 7, that's the form for directors that tells who the directors of the companies are, their details, their numbers, everything. Then CAC 2 was for shareholding, and all of those ones. There was 2A and all of that. But the status report is way better, as it just contains a list of everything. It's like a file of, or even when you change directors, it will still appear there on the status report. So it's way better. So along with the status report, you get your certificate and memorandum articles of association. That is for companies. Meanwhile, for incorporated trustees, you get your certificates, also bearing the IT number. That's registration number. It will be somewhere there on the certificate. Then the constitution of the organization, of the incorporated trustee, and then the status report. So that these are the documents you get at registration. And now registration is strictly online, unlike those days where you have to walk in or go through an agent and who will go to the physical offices, CAC, the physical CAC offices in the states. Now registration is actually online. And yes, you can register by yourself. However, there's a caveat here, because registration can be quite technical, really, and if you make mistakes, it may just make you abandon the whole procedure. And if that name have already been taken by you, if the name you've already reserved the name and you abandon the process, then you have to get another name even when registering, if when you want to try again. You understand? So you can register by yourself, and you can, if to register by yourself, all you just need to do is go to www.cac.gov.ng, or you go to the pre-incorporation portal, which is www.pre.cac.gov.ng. There you sign up, just like how you create any accounts, in social media accounts or any kind of accounts, online now. Just you sign up with your details, your name or phone number, whatever. But the thing is that you cannot have more than one account. So because, and your name, our names are connected with our phone numbers. So once you open that account successfully, you create passwords, you show your email address and everything. So by the time you log in, then you can register. But if you're not an agent, you can only register, any company or organization you register will bear your details. So you cannot actually create an account by yourself to register for other people. You have to open a CAC accredited agent account or accredited agent portal. That is different. But if you just want to register your business, for instance, Dangana Nails, you do nails and then you want to do it by yourself. You don't want to spend money, you don't want to give us money as CAC agents, then it's all fine. You just sign up, then you go to the CAC page, and of course it's all very simple. The interface is simple. Just go to new name reservation. You write the name options that you have, fill in a few details. What nature of business do you want? What do you want the name? Do you want it for a business name, a company, or an incorporated trustee? Once you do that, you just click on all of that. Then you pay the prescribed fee to take you to the remitter portal. You just make your payment and you wait. You keep checking. It may take, sometimes it take out a few days, you know but then you get, well, if the name is approved, from there you just start the registration, because when the name is approved, you get an email informing you of that fact, and then with a reservation code. So you can now use the code to proceed with the application.
Hello, Jenny. Can you hear me clearly?
The necessary documents as well.
I think you froze at some
I'm not
point.
lost. I hope you can all hear me.
Yeah, I think you froze at
Hello?
some point. Maybe a call to your phone. I can hear you now. I think, can you hear me, Jenny?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Did you get a call? Because you are frozen at some point.
No.
All right, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
No, although a message came in that it was reconnecting.
Okay, go ahead.
Where did you lose me?
I can't remember exactly, but you were saying something about a document. I can't remember exactly, but I think you froze at some point. Go ahead.
Okay, let me try to reverse. Okay, the application process for individuals that want to register on their own, you know. So once you follow the prompts, really, it's supposed to be quite simple. You just upload the documents, and then finally you pay. But make sure you look at the preview page properly, because if you make any mistakes, you will have to pay to amend it. That's just it. You have to pay, and it's not that will not be wise. At the end of the day, you just be penny wise. Sorry, yeah, penny wise, pound foolish, right? Is that the expression? Penny wise, pound foolish, because you avoid paying an agent maybe 20 to 25,000 naira, and then by the time you go through the process, you spend about 12,000 naira. If there's a mistake, you have to pay around the same amount again to amend those mistakes. And actually, for post incorporation, because that's what we call the process of amending any registered information with the CAC, we call it post incorporation. Why? The company or organization is already incorporated, and then you just want to amend. That is any activity you want to do on a company that's already existing with the CAC is called post incorporation, and individuals cannot do post incorporation. It's not allowed. You have to just go through an agent, and at that point, we'll now be waiting to collect that money. So you have to be careful if you're trying to register on your own. Okay, make sure you read everything, all everything, and make sure that, you enter the details carefully, and you just know what you're doing. So that is it. What else? What else should we talk about? In about TIN is identification number, TIN, actually tax identification number. Yeah, it comes automatically with the CAC certificate, especially for companies. The one for companies, it's automatic for companies. It was not automatic for business names and incorporated trustees. However, recently I think there's an improvement, because even when we register business names too, we can generate TIN for those business names and incorporated trustees. But the issue with this thing is that most times it is not activated. I've had a lot of people come back to say, I wanted to use it then, and now they are telling me they can't find it on the FRS portal and everything. The commission in charge of giving out tax identification number, of course, is the tax office, which is the Federal Inland Revenue Service. CAC has no business with TIN. It is just like actually like a bonus that the service is even available. That they generate TIN for registered companies. It's a partnership. The CAC entered a partnership with the FRS, so they just generate TIN for registered company at once. But that doesn't mean that TIN is will automatically appear in the FRS portal in your business name or your organization's name. That is what most people don't know, and most agents will not tell you. You see, when they are advertising CAC registration, whatever, they just keep telling you, you get what you get certificate, you get team printers, you get this and all of that. It's actually free on the portal, and but then if you need it to be activated, you have to go to the FRS in your state or in the state where that organization will be operating to activate the tax identification number. And that way you now get the printout, and you can use it for anything at all. So open a corporate account or do whatever you want to do. So um, that is it for teen. And what are the benefits of registration? Why do you have to register? To be law abiding. I think that is if you are a business owner, at least you should abide with the law, be compliant with the law to avoid any ugly situation in the future. And it also helps you build trust with your customers, with suppliers, with investors, with everyone. Once they see that you're registered, it boosts their confidence in your business. It increases the KLT factor. People just get to like you, and they have more confidence in you. So that is a second one. Also, you'll be able to open or create a corporate account. A corporate account, because if you need a corporate account, you're doing business and you're using your personal name. Not everyone will trust that, because you can just jump out with their money, at any time. But then to look professional, most times, you need a corporate account for your organization. And if you approach the bank, the first thing they'll be asking you is your CAC certificate. You have to do it whether you like it or not. So it gives you access to corporate account. Then there's also access to loans, grants, and all sorts of reliefs, both from corporate organizations, the government, and every other institution. Most times when people are asking, or when there's a grant opportunity, an opportunity to present loans to people that are in businesses, the first thing too that they'll ask is CAC certificate. So it's better to get it done as soon as you conceive the idea or you start the business. It's better to get it done, even when the opportunities are not there yet, because you don't know when an opportunity will come. And at the time you need it, maybe there's a loan you actually qualify for, but then you just need that CAC certificate. Something may happen. CAC may decide to be doing maintenance at that period, and so it will now take a longer time to get your certificate. Or you may not even have the name. You don't discover that someone else had registered with that same name that you're using for the business, and it will cause a lot of issues. To just throw you into confusion. You may have to now start changing your proposals, start changing your brand identity, start changing everything, your bags, your branded, everything, your logos and all of that, your letterhead and everything. So that is why it is best to register very early. You see some people say, but we have not really started. Register it down first. It doesn't cost much. It's much better to do so than to run around, when the opportunities come, when there's contracts, and then it's really stressful. I've seen clients, a client of mine, clients actually have lost contracts because of this. They don't do what they are supposed to do on time, and then when it's now pressing on them, somehow they they just lose out, because it may be in the process, and then we start encountering challenges. Oga, this name is not going on. We already have so many businesses using this kind of name. Then what's like, I have to use it. I've already submitted this thing. You just certificate. Well, now we are not magicians, and there's nothing you can do. You cannot bribe CAC to take out the name of the other company, or to withdraw the name from the person that is using it already. So it can cause a lot of issues if you don't do that on time. Then also there's access to business visas as well. When you have a business and you want to travel on business, most times you apply for business visas. You want to go to China to go and import goods, importer. you need to present your CAC certificate, because how then do they know that you're actually into business? You see? And so they will check you, okay, what's the name of your business? And then they'll just run it through the portal. Is this an existing business? They can even run a search. Is this really the owner? So, and when they run a search, what they get is the status report. Remember, I explained what a status report is. So they'll now check, okay, yes, this person is actually the owner of this business, and all of that. So they'll find all of portal, and then you can get access to business visas. These are just some of the benefits of registering with the CAC. Now, let's talk about annual return quickly before we wrap it up with trademark. Annual returns are what you expected to pay. They are actually returns, just like the name. They are not taxes. They are returns that you should make to the Corporate Affairs Commission yearly after registration. So after the first year of registration, from the second year, you're supposed to make these returns to the commission yearly. And the start date for annual returns is usually from January till June 31st. Is that 31st in June? 30th, sorry. To June 30th. Okay. To June 30th of every year. So once it's June 30th and you have not made your return, you will be considered late, and there are consequences. Okay, so every year, whether the business is in operation or not, as long as it is registered with Corporate Affairs Commission, you are supposed to make these returns to the CAC. That is it. And whether it is a business or a church or a foundation or a club, this is what many people don't know. They think, once I just register, I have a certificate, that's it. That's not it. Sorry. That is so not it. You're supposed to make yearly returns to the CAC. And the returns are not, you're not the returns are not based on the profits you made in a year. It's just like telling CAC that, hey, I'm still in business, okay, or hey, I'm still existing, so that they don't keep dormant companies and companies that are no longer existing, because you have a lot of people that just register businesses or companies just for a particular contract, and then when they are done with it, that's all. Okay, so everybody goes their way, and then they will be saving that name in their record, not knowing that the owners, some of them are even dead, many of them have abandoned, they have left the country now, like it's no longer existing really. And then somebody now wants to register a name that is similar to that one, but then because it is registered, they won't allow the other ones to register, so it causes a lot of this and a lot of confusion. So that is why CAC, as or the act, actually the law, stipulates that every organization, registered organization, should make yearly returns to the CAC. Make yearly returns to just show that, hey, we are still here, we are still operating, we are still in business, but we are still interested in being registered with the commission. Now, what happens to the CAC? First, there will be penalty. One day, no matter how you run, one day you may still need to make these returns, either because you have a contract now and you need to activate, the status of your organization. By the time you're paying, you'll be paying extra as penalty for all the years that you've defaulted. That is one. Then secondly, the status of your business will be deactivated on the CAC portal. Now, when you register your business, what you see active, if you search any newly registered business on the website, on the CAC website, you see some tags active in green, while some in red. So, and the tag inactive is because they've not been making these returns to the CAC. So CAC is not even sure if they're in business. So of course you just label them as inactive. So if you want to activate the status of your company, what you just have to do is file for all those years that you've defaulted up to the current year, and then it will get activated again. And then that is the second consequence, for not registering with for not filing your yearly returns. The third one is that it can be even struck off from the portal completely. CAC reserves the right to deregister your organization if for a long period of time you do not file returns, so they are not even sure if your company or your organization is still in existence, you reserve the right to deactivate it. I have a friend who is running his father's business currently, and the father's business is struck off. And this year, I was talking about annual returns filing, making posts about it on my status and everything. And then he said, oh, yeah, he said, I should help him check. By the time I checked, I repeated the name. What I saw was struck off. And man, it's not easy to release a company that is struck off already. Because what it means is that you have to approach the Federal High Court and file for a motion to release the company, and you must show reasonable grounds why the company should be relisted. Then you pay for all those years that you've not paid, you just including penalty, and then you now tell you if the application when if the company should be relisted, then you now have to take that court order to the Corporate Affairs Commission, and then pay administrative fees, 100,000 depending on the kind of company. So it's a really long and expensive process, because of course you're going to pay the lawyer as well. You see, so it's best to just do what you're supposed to do, comply, do what you're supposed to do on time. That's the best thing. Okay, let's now talk about trademark registration. My time is almost up. Now, trademark, like I said earlier, is any mark, name, or any mark actually. It may just be a dash, anything that distinguishes you, your brand, your product, your company from another in the market. I think my connection is, can you hear me now? I think my connection got lost again. Okay, like I was saying about trademark, when you see this tick, everybody knows, especially when it's in white or black, everybody knows brand. When you see this that jumping man with the basketball, oh, this is Jordan's, all of that. So any of these things, that when you see an elephant, a blue elephant, the what's First Bank logo, oh, this is First Bank. When you see that, some of it may be logos, it may be a word, maybe a slug. Once it's anything that sets you apart from others in the industry or in the market, is your trademark. And it is best to protect your trademark, to avoid the thoughts of passing off or someone else using it, because you have a right to, once it is registered, you have a right to sue. I don't know if many of you remember the case of Sabinos, where which company was that? They used this is famous, something big. Yes, something big is going to happen, or something big, something huge. Uh-huh. He had the right, if the trademark was registered, he had the right to sue money from it, because he was supposed to use its brand. Understand? So you can't just use it that way. You have to pay him if you have to use it. So that is what trademark is really about. It protects brands from piracy, and the thoughts of passing off. There's what we call in law thoughts of passing off. There's someone who start to trade, do business as though it was you. So some people may not really look at the brand very well, or they just feel that they're dealing with you, not knowing that they're dealing with someone else. That way you lose money most times. So that is what trademark registration is about. And is the agency in charge, or the ministry in charge of that, is the Ministry of Trade and Investment, in Nigeria. And we also do trademark registrations in our firm. We do trademark registrations. You're supposed to get a certificate at the end. However, it takes a long time to get a certificate. So most times when you do trademark registrations like this, what you get is an acceptance letter, an acknowledgement letter. So in principle, those will be, you can use them anywhere really, up until you now process the certificate. So that is it. I'm really trying to hurry up. It's almost 40 minutes, so I think I'm done here. Let me just accept questions. If there are questions, please let me know. Mr. Emeka, how do I see questions?
I don't think there are any questions yet because they're supposed to be in the comment section. Let me check in the comment section, but I'm not seeing any.
Hello,
Can you hear me? Hello, Jenny, can you hear me?
Mr. Emeka.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. I said that I'm not seeing any questions in the chat yet.
Hello, sir.
Uh, I can hear you. Can you hear me clearly?
Oh, don't
Jennifer,
tell me
can you
I've
hear
been
me?
speaking to myself.
Can you hear me clearly? Hello, Jennifer.
Am I here alone?
Yeah, can you hear? Can you hear me clearly? I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So how do I see
Can you hear me?
questions? I can now.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm checking in the comment section. I'm not seeing any chat yet in the comment section or questions in the comment section so far.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes we have these conversations and your explanations become very clear, and sometimes people don't ask questions in the comment section because of the clarity of your of your of your session. So thank you so much. I wanted to ask one question. I don't know if this falls between, falls within your jurisdiction. When someone opens a limited liability company, after I don't know, after how many years are they entitled to stay without paying tax? I don't know if this is within your jurisdiction.
Okay. Well, tax is a completely different topic, but most times you have to, there's no tax exemption for new companies except companies, what do we call them now? There are some companies that are doing like groundbreaking activities. We actually have tax exemption, but it's only for a few kinds of companies, especially companies that are into manufacturing. Sometimes they are exempted for 7 years, you know, and I think some export companies, s- companies that export raw materials, just to encourage trade. But aside that, you're not exempted from tax, and you're supposed to, in fact, as soon as you commence or you register your business, you've registered with FIS and everything, immediately after the first year, because tax is usually paid. So now this is the beginning of a new year. So every company actually is trying to tidy up. I'm even helping some companies tidy up their 2024. So you will now have to before June also, before June 30th. There is supposed to pay tax. There's no new companies just like that, except if you fall within certain categories. And really, I can't really remember those categories now, but I'm sure it's mostly for manufacturing. It's not all kinds of manufacturing. So that's it. There's no tax holiday per se, just because it's a new company.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for this. I don't know, for someone like me, what would you advise? Like, I mean, for mechanobius.com, do I need to have trademarks, my name, my logos, and all that? I don't know what you think about that.
Oh, yes, definitely. You're a brand and you're a big brand. You're a big brand now. So you're supposed to actually have a trademark. Maybe it's quite difficult for anybody to use the actual name of another person, use Emeka Nobis. But even something like the Dawn, or something that's any other, I think there's this Alpha Nobis, right? Alpha Novis that you're also into, safe to register a trademark to protect that brand. Really, it's advisable, and I really encourage you to do that.
Okay.
I encourage you to do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I'm not seeing any other comment so far in the comment box. Thank you so much
But
for,
are there people on the live video?
yeah, the one
Because I
that,
can't see.
yeah, this particular, this I was using StreamYard before, but StreamYard became extremely expensive. They started charging up to 85,000 a month. So this particular one I'm using, I'm not able to see the
Oh,
live, but I think I will definitely get the wing of it very soon. So I'm using Restream at the moment to do this,
oh,
and it's difficult for me seeing the number of
yeah.
people who are live. So, but then
Okay.
I know that a lot, quite a people could be live and they're seeing. All right. Before I used to pay 15,000 for 15,000 naira. Then went to 25, from 25 to 35. From now, they just went from 35,000, boom, up to 75,000. So I just had to move for now, to another streaming application. Oh, well, thank you so much for this great opportunity to have had this conversation with you. There will be replays and people can watch again and again. All right. Thank you and have a beautiful night rest.